mean, I know that this notion exists that one needs to be broken to like write good poetry or make good art, but I mean, it was the premise of Rockstar, the movie, but I don't know if I really believe in it. And on some level, I feel that it might like sort of romanticize the idea of being broken or, having gone through trauma. So, what I actually feel is that be it poetry, be it art, it comes from practice. So, I don't think one necessarily needs to have experienced trauma in any way to be able to do that. I feel it depends on like how well one is able to channel one's emotions, translate one's emotions into something tangible in the form of like art or poetry. I am from a small town in Jamshedpur, and I spent 19 years of my life there until I decided to go to law school. Then, after law school, I started working at a law firm. But yeah, eventually I quit all that, and thankfully I've been able to put that in my past, and I'm a writer now, and I'm doing creative things, which makes me happy. And like the very first piece I wrote was very well appreciated, which gave me like it's very encouraging, right? Like when you're trying to break away from one field and go into another, to receive that kind of encouragement is very helpful. And I think that also prompted me to keep going. And eventually, like, I realized that my love for writing isn't just restricted to like prose. It's also poetry. Like, I used to see people like write on Instagram and perform, and I would be very interested. And yeah, eventually I tried and I started, and it's been going well. So I like that. When a regular burnout happens, what essentially takes place is that you are physically and mentally like completely depleted, right? Because of the stress that you have been undergoing. So that's what like a neurotypical workplace burnout looks like. And autistic burnout, like the effects are quite similar, but what happens is it's not just work pressure that adds to it. Very commonly, what causes an autistic burnout is, years of camouflaging. Camouflaging is when you are trying to fit in with everybody else, not realizing that there are a lot of things that come with that, which is taking a strain on you. Like, for instance, hanging out with people is not something that comes naturally to me. Like how people just feel like going and hanging out. It's not something that happens to me. Or socializing takes a very huge toll on me. But now that I can realize what my triggers are, what are the things that stress my body out, that stress my mind out, I think I'm able to manage everything a lot better. So these are 3 paintings. So the green one depicts an anxiety attack, the way I experience an anxiety attack or a meltdown even. The red one was just one phase when I was like super depressed, and I felt like my brain sort of had tentacles, and it was just like trying to come out, and I didn't know how to hold it back, and it was hurting, and it was just, yeah, that was a dark phase. And the blue one is also like about depression. It's like anger and depression. Like when I'm depressed and everything around me is like cold and I'm trapped, but then there's this anger burning in me, and I don't know how to deal with it. So it's that. I mean, a lot of times what we do is we tend to advise people a lot. Even I do that. Like when somebody is talking to me about the problems, I start advising. But I don't know. I think it's more important to like listen and understand what someone is experiencing, even if it is just listening and just helping them verbalize and figure out what it is that they are going through. Because I think everyone's experiences with mental health is just so different, because everybody has been molded differently. Everybody has had different traumas, different privileges. And on top of that, there's also neurodivergence. And people don't even know that they are living. Like, how do I comment on what somebody else is going through when I spent so many years not knowing what was up with me? So I don't know, like with mental health, I think it's really important to give people a chance to speak what's happening with them, rather than, to sort of like give advice and tell them to do this, do that, etc.